Hello everyone, my name is Legend Ronnie and this game is Rise of Kingdoms. Now to date we have the great privilege of presenting you guys Alexander the Great. This is gonna be the first review, so until I'm gonna make the final video about Alexander the Great, we're just gonna have to deal with the first review. Right here. Now I'm super hyped, guys. I was not expecting, because they announced an update, so I was not expecting Alexander the Great the Wheel. I'm not sure how many kingdoms have it, but I'm pretty sure that there is a bunch of kingdoms that have the Wheel of Alexander the Great. Now usually Tuesday, Friday and Sunday I do live stream, so I'm gonna finish the wheel on my live stream, which is gonna be tonight for some of you. If you're watching this video later on, is most likely not gonna be tonight. So far I had to spend 27 spins on the wheel just to summon him. I've seen pictures from people getting like 3, 4, 8 pieces. It's crazy, it's insane. I haven't got that lucky, so I had to spend 27 spins to get to summon him for 10 sculptures, which is pretty high and low amount of sculptures. Now, as I mentioned, this is the first review. Before we go any forward, I'm just gonna have to inform you guys about the legendaries. The legendaries are very hard to upgrade. It is advisable to focus on one legendary at a time in terms of stars and in terms of sculptures. So in order to max out the legendary, you need a total of 690 sculptures after you summon him, so that means that a total of 700 with the summon. In terms of stars, you need up to 613. That can go up and down depending on your luck and critical hits. I would say that having a roughly of 650, 700, just to be sure, if you want to 6-star a commander, that is like the best way you can do. I can also tell you about the talents. Talents only work from the main commander and apply to the second in command, so that is also very important to know. I haven't done any build for him yet, but I can tell you that it's very obvious, if you're going to use this commander as primary, that you're not gonna go versatility. 2, he is a freaking infantry commander, so most likely and obviously you would go with the infantry build, and I'm saying with the all infantry build. This is gonna be one of those commanders that is worth it to do the full infantry build. You need every little stats that you can get on your troops, because he has an insane amount of attack for infantry. You can check his skills yourself. So there is a high amount of attack and defense that you can get on your infantry, so I would definitely go with the full infantry. The reason I'm saying full infantry, because you even need snare of thorns. Why? Because Alexander the Great grants a large amount of march speed for infantry, which actually grants quite some mobility to your infantry, and you might just be able to keep slowing down infantry and keep locked down infantry by reducing their march speed with Alexander the Great, and you will be able to do some crazy damage. Your cavalry might not be able to escape you, so it's definitely worth it. And then elite soldier is just poor stats for infantry, which is worth it. Now the next thing I would go for is a fortress. Once the infantry is maxed, or even before infantry is maxed, you can go with a fortress. The main reason would be because you also get some march speed, and this is like all damage up to a maximum of 10%, so that's all damage 10%, which is great for Alexander. You definitely need that. After that, you're probably gonna go to reduce all damage and most likely increase the counter attack damage. I'm not sure if you're gonna have more points after that, or if you even have enough for one of them. That's pretty much. I will not go fight to the death, and I will not go with martial mastery. Decrease active skill damage, I wouldn't go with that. Now I can tell you about his second skill, although there is no preview, so you probably already know his first skill. Shield 1200. We're gonna go through 2 reports. So I have done 2 reports between Alexander and Charles Martel, so I'm gonna show you that in just a couple of moments. About the shield, the shield is pretty dope. I have to say it. I like it a lot. Is even the display of the shield, it's much nicer than the Charles Martel. So that's really nice. And then it also shields an ally by up to 600 for 2 seconds. So that's just additional protection, which is always good. Now this has a chance to proc. I presume a 10% chance to proc. The direct damage factor is 1700, I apologize, displayed, which is very high. I have to say 1700 on a passive skill that has a chance to proc. It's quite high. And then healing effect reduction up to 30%. That's a very cool skill. Is still not sure how it's gonna proc. I'm saying 10% chance because from what I'm seeing on others, it doesn't go in that often. So 10% chance would make sense. But once they're gonna update the description, we'll probably know a little bit better what it does. His third skill, Frontline Commander, increase infantry units march speed up to 30% and attack up to 30% while troops are on the map. So that means that this does not have effect in Garrison. So this will not affect in Garrison. So if you want to use Alexander the Great as a Garrison commander, this is one bonus that you will not have while he's Garrison. It doesn't say anything about Lead the Charge. It doesn't say anything about Shield of the King. Puts a powerful shield. Remaining. Yep. Alexander's own army cannot gain this shield, so the small shield. Yeah, so it doesn't say anything about. So the first two you can profit from them if you want to use him as a Garrison. The fourth one, attack increase up to 40% when the shield is down. And when the shield is activated, the bonus changes to defense. So that means a much stronger shield, or at least the shield is gonna last for much longer, which is pretty cool. I have to say 40% attack, that is huge. That is really huge. With another 30% is insane. So he looks really crazy. I like him a lot. This definitely you're gonna benefit if you want to use him in defense, and then you have his expertise, which the shield remains the same, 1200 damage factor for 4 seconds, and then 600 for an ally. But it has a side effect, and increase the damage taken by nearby enemies up to 3 targets by 30% for 4 seconds. So that is crazy. That is really crazy. 30% more damage taken by up to 3 targets by 30% for 4 seconds. That is crazy. That's a really nice expertise. I would be very afraid fighting an Alexander the Great with expertise. I'm telling you, he's terrifying. He's really terrifying. Right, yo. Now, who could be his best pair for PvP? I would honestly say that is Richard. I honestly say that is Richard. You can get up to 15% attack and defense. Alexander is gonna provide with the attack. Richard is gonna provide you with the healing and the defense as well. Damage reduction, counter attack. That's all you need. I think Alexander and Richard is gonna be the most OP pair in the game. Charles Martel is most likely gonna take a second seat once Alexander is gonna be maxed out. Definitely, Charles Martel is gonna take a second seat. As much as I used to love Charles Martel, but Alexander just is double than Charles Martel at this point with everything he does. Okay. Now I mentioned about the reports. Let me just go really quick to the reports. So I have Belisarius and Charles Martel, and I have Belisarius and Alexander. Now you have to understand that Alexander's first skill is only level 1. So I would say that for a proper test, should have been at least both of them to level 5 and maybe have similar skills. I did use the same primary commander, and I did use the same troops and troops count, which is T5 and T5. But as I mentioned, Charles Martel has a little bit more skills. So let's go ahead and let's check the battle log from Alexander. And I'm gonna go exactly where I have to go, so I'm not gonna make this very longer. On this turn, wow, this is a long turn. So on the turn 13, this is when Alexander the Great cast Shield of the Kings. It says that troops gain shield effect, lasts for 4 seconds, and it mentions over here troops receive multiple shield effects, but only the strongest shield effect is active. So obviously only the 4-second shield is gonna be active. And then this is the first turn when the shield is actually in effect. It says here damage absorption amount 210,000. I'm not sure what that amount means, but we are basically not having any losses. So in this turn we are not having any losses. All unit march speed, so yeah, there's no losses. Like over here, you see it says Buffalo Drummer launches a counterattack, Belisarius lost. So there is no lost troops on the first turn of the shield. The second turn of the shield, again, damage absorption 92,000. So according to this turn, we haven't lost troops again. It's just the Buffalo Drummer that lost troops, which is basically the barbarians. On the third turn, there is no more shield. So it says here, Belisarius attacked, then Buffalo Drummer launched a counterattack, then Buffalo Drummer attacked Belisarius, so we lost troops. So on the third turn, when the shield was supposed to still exist, there is not, because it's already absorbed his maximum. But as I mentioned, it's only one skill in it, so it's not 5. That means that it's only 600 damage factor absorption, while Charles Martel has 1200. Now let's go and check the Charles Martel one. And I'm gonna go the same thing. It says over here, so it's the same on turn 13. Charles Martel cast Shield of Francia. Belisarius troops gain shield effect, lasts for 4 turns. Belisarius troops gain unstoppable effect, lasts for 4 turns. But as I mentioned, Charles Martel first skill is maxed out. So that's a 1200 damage factor. Now this is the first turn when the shield is in effect. Obviously all damage increased by 30%, so I would say that is a little bit better than Alexander in terms of that, because you gain like an all damage. But then it says here Belisarius gain a shield due to shield effect caused by Charles Martel, damage absorption 482,000. Now I'm not sure why is these numbers, but this is first turn when the shield is active, so we get no damage. Second turn when the shield is active, we get no damage. There is no damage from the barbarians. Third turn when the shield is active, absorption amount 1 turn left, there is no damage from the barbarians. And then fourth turn that the shield is active, and again the damage is absorbed, and we get no damage. Now presumably would be that once Alexander gets his first skill maxed out, you guys can probably test it out if you're gonna summon him. He should be able to absorb the same amount as Charles Martel using the same primary commander and the same amount of troops. So that way they should be pretty equal, because they both have 1200 damage factor once they get maxed. So there you go. Charles Martel did last for 4 turns with maxed first skill, and Alexander the Great first skill lasts for 2 turns with just 1 in it. We're gonna do more testing. As I said, this is not like a proper testing, but as an idea that how the shield works. So I will still say that slightly when you go as a solo march for just the primary skill absorption damage, I'll still say that Charles Martel might be better, but overall as a total skill, Alexander just dominates. And the people are starting the Guardians, so I do apologize that I have to start this as well. So let's wrap this up so I can do my Guardians. As general, Alexander is much better than Charles Martel. But as the first skill, I tend to say that Charles Martel might be a little bit better, but overall Alexander just dominates Charles Martel. I hope this was helpful. As I said, this was like the first review of Alexander the Great. So let me just continue my routine over here. So this was the first review for Alexander the Great. Until next time, or tonight, this is your boy Legend Ronnie signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care.